And tonight on the Daily Wrap, Mike Huckabee compares the Iran deal to the Holocaust. Did he go too far? Donald Trump coming out on top of yet another poll as Hillary Clinton still grapples with that email scandal. And is the GOP divided over gun control? This is the Daily Wrap, live from New York City. And welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Joe Concha, joined by my co-host, Rick Unger.
Welcome back, Joe.
Thanks. You did an outstanding job.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We most certainly missed you.
Really?
Was it the same without you? Now, when are you leaving again?
The check did clear. You may not see me again this summer during a small stint.
Oh, yeah? Well, okay. We'll be ready.
Okay, well, obviously you will.
We'll be ready.
Well done, Unger. Anyway, to his right, Forbes.com columnist and Emmy winner. He is Bill Tucker. And finally, he's the editor of the WisdomDaily.com and Grammy winner. Brad Hirschfield joins us as well. Don't sing for us.
I promise.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. It's time for the Daily Download. (2016) Republican presidential candidate Mike Huckabee inserted himself into the Iran debate with a bold comment this weekend on Breitbart.
This president's foreign policy is the most feckless in American history. He's so naive, he would trust the Iranians and he would take the Israelis and basically march them to the door of the oven. This is the most hideous thing. This Iran deal should be rejected by both Democrats and Republicans in Congress and to the American people.
And the president responding to that comment, calling out Mike Huckabee by name.
You know, the particular comments of Mr. Huckabee are, I think, part of just a general pattern that we've seen that would be considered ridiculous if it weren't so sad.
The former Arkansas governor then took to the Twitter to fire back, saying, and we quote, "What's ridiculous and sad is that POTUS does not, or at POTUS, you get it, does not take Iran's repeated threats seriously." Okay, Rick, did Huckabee just make this comment just to stand out from the crowd? Trump's taking a lot of oxygen out of the room. This obviously got him to the front of the headlines. Was it done because he meant it, or was it done to attract attention to himself?
Well, it's hard to answer the first question, which I'm going to get into in a second, but clearly on the second question, sure, here we are covering him on our top block today, and we're not the only ones. A lot of people have done exactly the same all day long on the news. I'm not going to get involved in the oven comment. It was certainly offensive to me, but if it's not offensive to others who are watching, that's up to you. Nothing I can do about that. But here's what I can do. I can show you that Mike Huckabee is a candidate, and I think I've said this before on our program, who will say anything to get the attention. Just go back to 2008 when Huckabee was first running for president, and he broke with the Republican Party, with the other candidates, by saying that he objected to the Bush approach of militarism and said that what we needed to do was engage Iran in a negotiation. And he also said that it would be important that we get Europe and Russia and China involved with us so that we could really put some sanction heat on them. Well, what was interesting was Obama at that time wasn't that big on the whole sanction thing. He ended up following Huckabee's advice. But then you go to the 2015 Huckabee, and I'm going to read you what he said just last month. How can we negotiate with Iran when their people take to the streets and chant death to America? Governor, they were saying that way before 2008. I'd say that if we continue believing that we can have a relationship with Iranians and their government, we might as well say death to sanity, because that's what we're giving a license to. Governor, you can change your mind. That's perfectly okay, but you have to draw the lines to why and how your mind changed. You don't just get to say what's useful to you in a particular situation. You're busted on this, and anybody who will go back and do the homework will see you're busted on this. If you want to tell us what changed your mind, fine. If you don't like the deal, I understand. But you don't just get to say what's politically expedient and get away with it.
Now, I've seen pictures of Rick's bar mitzvah. They're tremendous. All right. So
I looked a lot like this. My hair was the same length, actually.
people at home may not know you're Jewish, and when you say you're offended by it, we have to consider that strongly. Now we have another. I believe you're Jewish, as far as I can tell.
Last time I checked,
yes, Hirschfield. So, are you offended by the comment?
The only part of the comment I'm really offended by was his initial comment where he suggested the President of the United States could be compared to a Nazi who was marching Jewish victims to the oven door. That's outrageous, whether people agree or disagree, and how much as you may disagree with the President and with this deal. The suggestion that he personally is comparable to a Nazi is actually outrageous, but more than that, it deflects from the insight that is there in Huckabee's comment, which is that you can't ignore the genocidal aspirations of Iran. The incredible irony here is that on the 14th of July, the last Friday of the Muslim holiday Ramadan, is Quds Day. Quds, the Arabic word for Jerusalem. Millions and millions of Iranians took to the streets, burning American and Israeli flags, chanting death to America and death to Israel. Was the comment over the top? Absolutely. Do I think it's as clear-cut as Huckabee suggests? I don't. But to make this deal and ignore that it's a deal being made with a country, or at least a culture, that is unrepentant in its genocidal aspirations is crazy.
Bill, that's the thing. Now, you could say this deal is bad. I believe this deal is bad. I agree with Huckabee where he says we gave away the kitchen sink, we had a lot of leverage, and we totally gave it away just so we could say we made a deal. Now, all of that said, what are we talking about now? The comment about ovens. And that's what happens every time a public figure brings up the Holocaust. Sure. It distracts from everything else, the main point, and now Huckabee is getting slammed for it. Yeah. Even though I would agree that he was right that the deal is bad and this could lead to putting Israel at risk, but now we're not talking about that because he had to evoke the Holocaust. Can people just stop evoking the Holocaust?
I would like for them to stop evoking the Holocaust. I would like for our language, our political language in particular, to become less blunt and a little more nuanced. Because what's the response? The response from the president and other Democrats, from Hillary Clinton as well, the Democratic candidate, is that Republicans are ridiculous, therefore they shouldn't be listened to. They're less nuanced on their side than Huckabee was on this side in the sense of saying, no, wait a minute. This is not what happened. And we don't get into any substantial discussion about actually why they don't think this is putting Israel at threat when they made a deal with a country that explicitly has said.
Rick, well, I know you have a point.
You make a great point, Joe, and it's in fact a bit of political lore that when somebody raises the Holocaust, they're losing.
Right.
So you're absolutely right. But look, let me tell you what else is disturbing about this. Again, like everybody else has said, I understand that the governor does not like the deal. He's not alone. As I've said, I do favor it by an eyelash. Mm-hmm. So I totally understand.
You favor it because you feel that it's the lesser of two evils?
I don't see another option. But
right.
Here's what troubles me about the governor. He himself pointed out, again, going back to 2008, that there were two options: to sit down with Iran or to go to war. He said this himself. I've got it right here. You can go read it. He wrote the article in Foreign Affairs magazine.
And we ain't going to war in 1,000 years.
Well, but at least put that on the table as an option. All he's doing is sitting there saying incendiary things to get attention, as you said, to put him on the front page. He has not offered us an option. Now, if we're going to believe him, he has said himself there's only two options: talk to them or go to war with them. And he said back in 2008 he was not all that interested in going to war with them. Now, if he is interested in that today, fine, Governor, that is an option. But say so. Don't just make these nasty, incendiary, useless comments without telling us what you would do as president that would be different and better.
Hirschfield?
I don't think they're only incendiary. I don't love the metaphor in this moment. I think it misunderstands Israel's status in the world as opposed to Jews in the 1930s. It's a powerful and empowered nation, but it does have a genocidal enemy. I also think we should throw in here, this is not a one-sided deal. When the president said this is just what Republicans do, it's simply not fair or accurate. The truth is, Howard Dean went on television in 2006 and compared President George W. Bush to the president of Iran. Debbie Wasserman Schultz went on television after Gabby Giffords was attacked and compared the Tea Party to white supremacists and blamed them for the shooting.
Exactly.
So either we're all going to admit we have a culture that's completely over the top, or we're sunk, and it doesn't matter who does it. So that the president's wrong about.
Hyperbole rules the day, I think, is the bottom line. So what do you think about Mike Huckabee's comments? Go to newsmaxtv.com/comments and let us know. That's newsmaxtv.com/comments. And we may read some on the air. In fact, I know we will. Anyway, coming up next, Donald Trump continues to rise in the polls. McCain, incendiary comments, it doesn't matter. Nothing can stop him. Stay tuned.